Where have we been?
Last week was
4th of July.
yep. So we were with our families.
And the week before that, something was going on. So
Yeah.
we're back
So we're back.
to
We're
Black
back.
Money
Yep.
Matters.
And we hope you guys have been enjoying our reruns. We know we put out a lot of great information, and sometimes it's good to hear it again.
Sure is.
So but this week we're back live. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
You all share.
Share, like, share. Tell someone to like, share. We have a great episode for you today. So let's get started. My name is Jameca Patrick.
I'm Karen Weaver. And for those of you who don't know,
Everybody
Wilbert
know.
Papa Jarrett, F.H. baby boy.
and you know what? People are excited that you're here today, Papa. They
You
are
hear me? I'm
excited.
saying everybody know.
And I'm not even going to tell you what Mickey said. I'll wait until after the show.
Okay.
That might be a behind the scenes
behind
Black
the
Money
scenes.
Matters because
Mhm.
Mickey. We'll talk. We'll talk
Right.
Mickey
talk.
was showing out.
as usual. But you know what? I'm so happy you're here because when we first started, you were one of the first guests that we had on Black Money Matters.
Yep, you were
That's
one
correct.
of the first. Back at the
3
other
years ago.
studio.
That, I
Wasn't
mean,
that
can you
3 years
believe
I
it?
think
Yeah,
so,
we were.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
and so
We were
waiting.
excited then, and we were excited now. And I remember then we were like, "You think he could come? You think he'll come on? You think he'll come on?" And so you
Oh,
came
wow.
on,
Here we go. Y'all
and
know
we
it's
were-
live.
and we were excited about it, and we're excited to bring you back because I think that this subject that we're going to talk about today is, for me, it's like it's a history lesson,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of those things that um some of our younger generation don't always really know, and when we don't know our history, we don't understand a lot of times how to move forward, or even why things are the way they are, or why we have certain battle cries as we're out here doing the work. And so let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. And you know what? It was funny because you remember when you came on before and some of the conversation we were having. And so we're gonna have some of that conversation again, even though we do have a surprise topic too.
Mm-hmm.
But it was funny because one of the things we saw was I had pulled out this book, and Pop and I had been talking.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this book too. It's
Yep, I
called
have that book.
Millionaire Moves.
Yep.
And it's 7 proven principles of entrepreneurship. And it's William F. Picard, Dr. Picard.
Mm-hmm.
And we were reading this book. So should I go to the part on what we were talking about?
Yes.
Because sometimes, we see what happens. I mean, we talked about banking while black.
Banking while black.
Banking while black, and how we still today don't have access to be able to get loans for a mortgage, loans to start a business. And how did we get through?
Yep.
How
A
did we get
lot
through?
of predatory lending when it comes to sending our kids to school.
Right.
Those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so how did we get through?
Okay, so there was this man, you know him, William Picard. And I'm just gonna read something. He said, I'm singing the praises and exposing the strategies of a man known about town for his unbeatable confidence, macho swagger, and a pocket that was always stuffed with money. He was the numbers man. And in the 1950s and 60s, it was no secret how much that meant in the Black community. It was no secret.
Mm-hmm.
And how actually, the numbers man was looked up to. Mm-hmm. We couldn't do things. We wouldn't have gotten where we are without him.
Mm-hmm.
And then they try to take it from us. Like they do everything else.
Because the number man, I mean, Papa, tell us like what happened back then? Like the number man was able to help families do a whole bunch of stuff.
Send kids to school.
Mm-hmm. Buy houses.
Funerals, help them funeralize their loved ones. Help them just get some food and clothes. Helped, was looked up to in the community. And what you did was, I mean, you're a savvy businessman. And so talk about that to us, because a lot of people, they hear certain things, but there was a method behind that. And you can't be dumb doing this.
And go ahead. I'll save my thoughts.
Okay, she's gonna save her thoughts.
Let me start by saying it's a movie that's in the theaters now, and it's going to be streaming in a couple weeks live, basically about the same thing we're talking about, but its title of it is the Black Baseball League.
Okay.
And the Black Baseball League, if you watch this movie, they give you a historical story about how the number man started out the Black Baseball League in 1930.
Wow.
So like what was known as the Negro League.
The Negro
Mhm.
League, yeah, they call it the Negro League, but it was black entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Guy by the name of Gus Greenwell in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He's credited with Number Man loaning the money for the entrepreneurs to start business. He started the baseball league. He's the one credited for starting the baseball league. He started night baseball. He owned his own ballpark and put up lights.
Okay.
Now, getting back to Flint in the 1940s, I have to mention the name of Roy Baker, Leroy Damon, Elwin Brown. Them was the entrepreneurs in the community based on nickel, dimes, and quarters. I personally picked up numbers. I start out in the morning at 8 o'clock, and I'd have to get in for 3 o'clock, and I was lucky if I had $35 or $40, all nickels and dimes.
Oh, nickels and dimes.
That was
that was heavy.
Yeah, that was definitely.
What'd you say that was heavy?
To the day I got buckets and buckets and buckets of pennies from them days. Yes. So them guys was the go-to guys for the doctors, like I personally know about, like Dr. Hawkins, to get a loan to build his office on Lee Street. That's little known. Them guys is the guys who had the restaurants, you know. And it was another. He was an entrepreneur. He had an ambulance service in the 40s. You know, all that was funded by the black entrepreneurs in the community. That the banking in them days was through the nickel, dimes, and quarters.
So imagine that though. So at that time, playing numbers was considered an illegal activity, collecting numbers and all of that.
Absolutely.
But the only way that people who would be considered to have legit or legal businesses could have those businesses or expand on those businesses, they had to. I mean, you have to have money to be able to do the things.
You like
but
the bank.
the banks wouldn't.
Right. The banks wouldn't.
So
They still don't sometimes.
They still don't. They still don't. But think about a system that that remains oppressive, but was overtly oppressive back then. We're not gonna give you any money. You don't even come and talk to us. You better figure it out. And
well, that was a government policy in redlining. I know you're familiar with the redlining.
We sure are.
And not only housing was redlined, banking was redlined, and being a partnership into international business like the A&P stores. Y'all too young.
I remember A&P.
A&P.
I sure do.
A pharmacy store?
No,
it was a grocery store. It was a grocery store.
Okay.
So blacks didn't have access to that, and they had to make their own way. And we had our local right here in Flint. I only can speak for Flint, but we had our own poultry shops. You go there and pick your hen out or pick your turkey out live, and you'd get it killed and processed right there in front of you.
So it was fresh.
Yeah, it wasn't no freezer. You didn't have no freezer.
Wasn't all that stuff added to it.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't none of that. And even fish, we had fish markets.
Fresh fish.
Fresh fish markets.
Oh, I bet that was. I love fish.
Mr. Elder. I very seldom hear his name, but he had a supermarket on St. John Street.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a black entrepreneur.
And you know a lot about the St. John Street history.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When Mr. Elder retired, I purchased the store from him. And he was cutting his own meat, had his own butcher shop.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He had fresh vegetables. Mm-hmm. And like all the other stores, he had an account. You go in there and you get your groceries, and when you get end of the month, whenever you got the money, he matter of fact, when he retired, he left me with a lot of books where he said, "Now, son, these people owe me, but you collected, and when you collect it, give it to me." But then I didn't never collect a dime. Yeah, them people didn't pay Mr. Elder. He was a good man. Mm-hmm. He never refused credit. So that's how we did things back in them days. Business. And it was through oppression that forced us to do that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was a survival tactic.
But it worked.
Or it worked for us.
It worked for us.
In my opinion. Yeah, in my opinion, we had a more civil society in the North End, the Flint, and the South End too. Uh-huh. I mean, we didn't. First time I ever heard of a burglar alarm in 1971. We didn't need no burglar alarm on no house.
So Papa, what has happened?
Well, I don't know. I can just speak about history. I don't got no solutions. I ain't got.
But you can tell us. But you're telling us what worked.
Oh, I can tell you. Yeah, mm-hmm. I can tell you my experience.
I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like, man, just hearing it feels just like community and what community should be. And I don't have to go hungry if you have a grocery store, because I can go in there and get my groceries, and then when I get paid, come pay my money, and if I need to borrow some money to buy this house over here, I know who I can go to. Like, it just sounds like community.
Yeah, I had a friend. He's since passed away. His name was Tommy Spike. Now, Tommy Spike, we used to gather at McDonald's and he'd argue all the time. Every argument, he would lead it by, these black people today don't know how to put a meal on the table. Uh-huh. And when you said that reminded me that we had, every street had a community garden. Everybody canned back in them days. So food,
I know my
food
mother
desert and all that wasn't no.
Okay, so you know what I'm gonna go to now since you said that.
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay, well, I'm gonna bring it up. Because one of the things when we were talking, I said, something that a lot of people don't know about you is that you farm.
Yes.
You farm. Yeah. And I said, that's like a secret. And it's not a secret because you want it to be a secret. It's just, people say,
little known fact.
It's a little known fact.
Yeah.
And I was talking to you about that because I remember we had somebody said, you all need to talk about black farmers and what is going on. And this is something that you do. And I said, I never really thought about it because it's not something we tell our kids. Grow up, you can
go into farming.
You can go into farming. There's so much in agriculture. There are careers there. There's money to be made, but we don't do this. But you do this. You were talking about the freshness of food and what's in it today. Mm-hmm. You're talking about food deserts and things we used to do. We don't do anymore. And look at where exactly.
Right. Well, farming, I have to be honest. I can't be fake on here. It's hard work. Mm-hmm. And if you notice, most of the people that's involved in farming is Hispanic people that's doing the harvesting and the planting, and the weeding out of farms and so forth and so on. But farming now is a multi-million-dollar business.
Say that.
To get into. A columbine costs you $600,000. Well, y'all
so have we been priced out of it?
Because you hear about things. You hear about like black farmers And I know it's a TV show, but I watched this show called Queen Sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, and they're down in Louisiana, and you see where the black farmers are trying to get together and buy things, and they keep pricing them out, and they doing stuff to them, trying to steal their land.
Well, it sounds like what they try to do to black contractors around here too.
It's redlining. it's the same thing. See, these big agri farmers, they contribute a lot politically,
mm-hmm.
and they elect their people and put them in place in Washington. And all the big funding go to them they call them agri farmers because they're so
big.
They're so big. We got one right here in Genesee County, Johnson's farm.
Uh-huh.
That guy, I heard him on Channel 12 a couple of weeks ago. He said he farmed 12,000 acres. Can you imagine that?
No.
Not 1,200. And I was trying to measure
12,000 acres.
But in the spring of the year and the fall of the year, on my road that I live, I see these tractors that's big as houses with not tires no more on them. They have tracks on them, like bulldozers. I mean, they're humongous. You understand?
Okay.
I still got my little tractor. I can pull 2 little furs. This guy, he pulling 50 furs, you know.
So why don't we go into it?
Well, the problem is land. Land is so expensive. Farmland is so expensive. Like me, and even in my case, the land that I got I inherited.
I was gonna say it was passed down.
It was passed on. It was a inheritance.
That's how you build generational
and
wealth.
they say don't sell grandma's house. They say
don't sell that land. You all better listen up.
Right. And it was in a trust that my dad had, then my brother had, then my sister had. Now I'm continuing the trust. You understand what I'm saying? And right now, as we speak, it's funny you invite me on the show. I'm in the process of succession to passing it on to my daughter and to my niece.
See, and that's what we talk about with Black Money Matters, how we don't have generational wealth, how our dollar doesn't turn over in our community.
Right.
And what happened? I mean, we know some of the stuff that happened.
Yeah.
But how do we get back to that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, in my case, what I'm trying to do is establish a situation where it'll self-finance when I pass it on to them. You know, I ain't got too long to be here, but I'm doing it now.
Right.
And I'm working with them and I'm handing it over to them now. And we're setting up a program where it will be self-sustaining. We don't have to worry about the taxes being paid. And their kids can take it forward.
You all hear this?
Yeah, I hear that's how it's supposed to be done.
You know what you make me think of? I was just reading an article the other day where it says Serena Williams, her daughter is now one of the owners of the golf team.
Yeah.
And is it a soccer?
I just seen another pro team, some pro teams.
It was 2 professional teams.
Yeah.
And they were talking about building generational wealth.
Right.
And how we need to hold on to the assets that we have. And we haven't been doing that.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, my brother, even beginning with my brother, they built 69, Highway 69 from Flint to Lansing.
Okay, here we go with some history, y'all.
And he had an opportunity. At that time was a 240 acre working farm.
Okay.
He had the opportunity to sell it to the highway, and he refused. And now he wasn't a wealthy man. You know, he didn't die poor, but he kept it. And he said, pass it on to my sister. He said, this is granddad. See, when my dad came here, back in them days, them people, in them days, they felt that the land of all independence was owning land. You know what I mean? That's your wealth, owning land. So I inherited that, and I'm trying to continue it on.
And we need to, because, and that's why one of the things I've told people is when there's a vacant lot next to them, when that land becomes available, buy it.
Yes.
Buy it. You've been
Yes.
taking care of it.
Yes.
You've been cutting the grass.
Yes.
You've been shoveling the snow.
Yes.
Buy it and start building.
Yes.
Start building. But we
Yes.
have not been doing that. We just haven't been doing enough of that. And we've been cut out of being able to do those things.
Yes. Yes. And I don't really blame. I put certain amount of blame on redlining,
Mm-hmm.
but we as a people, in my opinion, have had too many options other than that, and it was made easy for just to walk away. Say, for instance, you come here from down south and you got a job and you start having a family and you go home for the first 10 years, and then after the 10 years you go back home, you let the farm deteriorate,
Mm-hmm.
the house deteriorate, it becomes a burden on you. It's easier here. And they let the farmland go there. And that's the same way about a grandmother or granddaddy's house, a mom's house, a father's house. It's like you
So we
speaking
just
about.
sell it off.
Yeah, let's walk. Or
We
you
get
walk away.
Or walk away.
Walk away. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I see a lot of cases where it be beautiful houses that the mother and the father kept the grass up, put new cabinets in the kitchen, kept it remodeled. But it's in a different side of town that the child say, well, this ain't me. I want to live in this area. I want to, you understand what I mean? They walk away and just abandon it.
And that's how we lose out, though.
Yeah.
That's how we lose out on some things. So you and people know you in the community. Yeah, people know about the numbers, but people know you as a savvy, successful business person also. What would you tell people? What business tips do you give to people? How do we start building this generational wealth again? What do we need to do, Papa?
Well,
She said, you're right, Councilwoman Burns. Black people often aren't recipients of generational wealth.
And so, because
we're not,
and then, and that's one of the things that we have to recognize when we're talking about creating wealth, because like, I know that, a couple of our council people mentioned purchasing and receiving their grandparents' homes. I think it was Eva Worthing and Judy Presley. At the same time, they complaining about the sidewalks, like race doesn't have anything to do with the sidewalks. But when you talking about when racism is present in those types of situations, where you have certain people who are more apt to receive generational wealth and more apt to like be the owners of their home, and homes worth a lot more because they receive generational wealth. Like, we have to just recognize how all of that ties together, especially when we're talking about redlining and not having the opportunity to have generational wealth. I think it's important that we understand that we need to educate. So when we do own the land, we pass it on. When we do,
have a home
that we pass it on, and we are
or
putting people in positions to be able to make those decisions that impact our everyday life when it comes to like who's making policies and who's doing those types of things. Because that's why we had all those issues, and that's why they starting to come back up. Is because of the policies that are being put into place that blocks us out. We see it, right? We seen it with the lottery.
I was just gonna go to that because that's my question.
Well, let me talk to Tanya.
Okay, Tanya, he talking to you.
What you in your generation, I could agree with that. But at the turn of the century, 1901, Black folks, through coming up from slavery, through generational wealth, they were, I forget the exact percentage, but I use a marker like this. Everybody passed their property on. They was raised on that land. They stayed on that land from the 1800s, after when we got out of slavery, in the 1900s, all the way up to the end of the century. But something happened. We started leaving the farm in the 50s. Well, my dad, he left the farm in 1919, left the farm down there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fortunate enough, my granddad was down there.
Okay.
But that's how them people survived.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Yeah. They survived through generational wealth.
Through generational
but
wealth.
This new generation don't have that same spirit.
No.
Mama ain't coding.
No.
You selling her house.
Yeah, because like me, or like my brother, I use my brother great as an example. They offered him $250,000 for a farm that he paid $25,000 for. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So he didn't sell it. But most
people would say, "Oh, I'm taking the money,"
and that's in that generation.
And we give it away.
But now he enjoy the fruits of it.
Mm-hmm.
But behind him, his children and his children's children don't benefit from it.
Okay.
But now he did benefit from it.
Right.
You understand? If he had sold it. So I think, Tanya, that's what happened to the generation.
She said, "I'm listening too."
The generation that you grew up in. I know her whole history because I know her grandfather. I know her father and her grandfather.
She said, Tanya said, that's true for my family still has the farm in Frackler, Alabama.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's probably on her grandmother's name. Yes. Yeah.
So what do you think though? Because when we go back to what Bill Picard said and who he gave credit to, and you think about the people you were able to help.
Yeah.
You think about all the people that you helped, and now you look at, not supposed to do the numbers. The lotto has taken everything.
Yeah, what about
kind of like the marijuana?
That's what I'm fixing to say. What about the weed?
Right.
Yeah.
There's a $4 bag of weed hid on a rock.
Right.
I had a friend do 5 years in the penitentiary for a $5 bag, a $4 bag of weed. Yeah, Raymond Hunt, Broadway, 5 years.
And now look.
Now you
and we've been priced out of it again.
Can't do it again.
Well, I want to ask that question.
Go ahead.
Now, y'all been in municipal government. Do y'all know any Black person that own a weed dispensary?
No.
I don't. I mean, but y'all out there.
Well, I remember when I was in office and things had already been set up. And I was looking at this. Yes, Mickey. Oh, when I turned. Okay, I'm sorry. I remember everything had already been set up when I got in there, and everything had been legalized. And when I kept looking at the money, and I kept saying, well, how come the city isn't getting any money? The state's getting all the money, then the county, and the city was last, but all of our resources were the ones being utilized. We weren't benefiting from it. And we can't even buy it. I mean, we can't even be the ones selling it because we don't have the dispensaries. Like you said, I said, so they did that with the lottery, and they told us the money was going to go to schools, and now,
how many Black stores got lottery machines?
That's a good question.
I know of a couple. So
let's see. They legalize weed, but don't talk about Michelle, you're right. To what you just said, they legalize weed, but don't talk about letting the Black people, brown people out of prison. Because they got us locked up for doing it. Now here they come. They've taken over,
legalizing it, and cutting people out of the price. Just
they
like
cut out
said,
the small business person,
like they did with the lottery. So what happened? Is weed bad for you now? Good for you now? Was it bad for you then? What's the difference?
Right.
Why is it?
Were the numbers illegal then? But now it's called the lotto.
Yeah.
What's that?
The difference? What happened? Oh, I can't see.
When it comes to profitable, the government takes over. Weed numbers, that's exactly what they do. They take over. They see a profit happening. It's like, we can't let them just keep doing this. We're gonna lock them up. And now we're gonna take over, and we will price you out. Just like you see homes getting bought up in certain areas of town that used to be, we considered our area of town.
You used to get some of those houses
for
$1,000, and now you can't.
It's the same thing.
And gambling. What about?
Just like liquor, Stephanie said. And you're
Uh-huh.
right, gambling.
Right.
Yeah, gambling. We had gambling. We call them joints.
The-
We
Mhm.
had gambling joints.
joints.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we had 5, 6 of them. People
Mhm.
made their living in the joints.
Mhm.
But now they got casinos.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? But it was wrong in it, and just like you said
Now
about
it's
it.
glamorous.
Yeah, well,
Go
yeah.
to the casino. That's
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah,
be
it's
like
glamorous.
that.
Yeah, the police should kick the door in. Go take
Wasn't
the
that
money.
It wasn't
glamorous
glamorous
about
then.
that?
You walked in glamorous and came out like, whoa, what is that? Shit.
Yeah, go to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I lived through all of that.
Uh-huh.
So that.
How do you feel when you think about that, though?
Well,
What do you think?
I don't resent it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't resent the change. Change is always good,
Uh-huh.
in my opinion.
Okay.
My dad was the ice man. I remember getting in the truck with my dad, and he took a block of ice into your house.
Mm-hmm.
You left the door unlocked.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Refrigerators in the back by the door.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
it
put a block
was.
of ice in there to keep the meat and stuff from freezing.
Uh-huh.
My dad also, he had a truck loaded down with coal, and you had a coal bin
Mm-hmm.
then, and he flipped it up and throw it in the basement near the coal stove.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to do that.
Uh-huh. So
I-
yeah, some change. You're right.
Yeah, I love going there with flicking it on. which
Push
I
the
don't
button,
feel-
you
I
get
don't
your
feel
nice
right now,
ice
but I
cubes.
push
I
the
was
button.
gonna say now we
Unless you're
real
in Flint,
fancy.
but-
Right.
Yeah, let's
Unless you're in Flint.
Well, I mean,
but-
you can cut your,
get
if you
started.
you
Okay,
got
I'm
that,
sorry.
you got that phone right there. You can cut your air conditioner at home.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like changes.
You like the convenience that some of it brings.
Well, yeah. So
Mhm.
change is all, in my opinion,
Right.
change is always good.
Mhm.
The question is how you going to prepare for the change
And
Mhm.
and
that's what I was gonna
survive
say.
the preparation
And-
of the change.
and how do we create a system or prevent a system from blocking us out when the change happens? Why
Right.
is it that it's always us that suffers?
I can't even pay to get a license for the
They just won't let
for the
me
weed.
in.
You know, a lot of us can't afford it.
They just won't
They
let
won't let
us
us
all of a
in.
sudden. They sent our sons
They'll let us
and
in
brothers
the joint, but they
and
won't let
dads
us
to
in the
prison
business
for
part
it.
of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But now we can't get in. Now we can't get a seat at the table that we built.
And I guess the part that angers me is how things were, you know, what they want to say about the numbers, man. What they want to say
Mhm.
about the person
To
that was
this
selling
day.
weed. What they want to
To
say.
this day,
but
the number
then
man
all
is
of a sudden,
demonized, the
right.
weed man is demonized. But we have a system that has completely taken over those roles, industries.
Those
yes.
And
there you go.
Absolutely,
It's
yes.
industries.
They've taken over those industries, and now it's reputable.
Mhm.
You're fine. I mean,
Right.
the everybody get all excited when the mega million reaches certain amount of money.
Mhm.
You have folks that don't play numbers trying to buy.
I got to go play now.
And so, how do we go from a system that
Right.
demonizes us? We're the ones.
When we're the
demonized.
ones doing it.
We're the ones going to prison for 5 years for a $4 bag of weed. And like Michelle said, people still sitting in prison for the same weed, probably a lesser quality weed than somebody selling in a bright, shiny store around the corner.
Lynette said we have to be proficient in technology too, and that's what you were talking about. You like some of these changes that have happened.
Absolutely.
But how do we prepare our people
Mhm.
to be a part of that?
A part of the prettier name, like Tanya said, is the weed man is now called a dispensary. It's
Oh
just
wow,
a
it's a
prettier name.
prettier.
Yeah.
That's right, Tanya. It's the dispensary now, not
How
the
does
weed
that
man.
happen? How
You know,
does that
before you
happen?
had to go, is the light on?
Mhm.
So I could get something. What,
Mhm.
Mickey? Stop laughing.
Well, you know what?
To now you can just drive.
They
You
were-
don't have to look for a light to be on. You can just go to you can just go park in the parking lot. What, Mickey?
Get out.
Look at Mickey.
Why you
What?
laughing?
What time is
It's true. Oh, we got a little
Oh, I
time.
thought we was off.
No, he's laughing because
he
I'm
over there
talking
cracking up.
about, you drive it. Oh, the lights on, they got something. And now the stores are full now. The
Well, I
dispensaries
think-
are stocked.
I think, in my opinion, this
Yes.
is just my opinion.
We want to hear. That's why you're on Black Money
Well,
Matters.
my opinion is that if you examine what these foreigners is doing to be able to come in here in our community, they control the liquor stores, they control the insurance, automobile insurance, they control well, they kind of losing that. The cell phone business. You understand what I'm saying? Now, they represent probably a tenth of a percent
of the population. Right.
But they control.
They have more wealth than we do. And we've been here and we're a bigger percentage of the population.
So it need to be a study of what they're doing and we don't do, and you might would find out. I don't got the answer. It just don't make sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Stephanie said, and you can order online and pull up on me. Oh, but it's true when we're talking about you don't have to see if the light is on. You can just pull up. She said you can order online. Coney Islands. That was the next comment. I was getting there, Mickey. Stephanie, you knew I was.
What I was saying, the commerce of our community is controlled by 1/10 of this population, this community. So what is their solution? Maybe that's what y'all need to have, one of them Arabs to come in here. And he ain't gonna tell you. You understand what I'm saying? But how could they come here and be successful? Can't they throw you, throw the food at you? I want to. He ain't speaking your language. And if he decides you ain't gonna drink Coca-Cola, all they gotta do is put an edict out to the rest of the stores, and you won't drink Coca-Cola unless you go to Mars or somewhere. I see that Coke over there. I come from an Arab store.
Jameca always has Coca-Cola.
Came from Gordon.
And you're right.
I went to Gordon.
So here's what Lynette said. Lynette said, and jobs have gone to robots and drones. I get mad when I go. I'm telling you, I'm just one of those people. When you go to the grocery
and
store,
they want you to check out
you
your
want me to do.
And then they got the nerve to want to see your receipt on. Well, no, if you don't trust me, don't have me checking out my own stuff.
Right, and so the self, I just can't do it. It's AI. That's right. Artificial intelligence is taking over.
Oh my goodness!
What?
Tanya said they bring it to your car.
Well, hey,
so you wait a minute. You order it online and
they give loan. Okay, so Tanya said, in her opinion, like you said, they give loans to other people in our community for businesses, but won't give Black people a loan. And that's really how, Tanya, you're right. And that was how we started this conversation when we were talking about the importance of the role that the number man played, because you were like a bank in the Black community, and helped us through so many things and helped us achieve so many things. And that's what's going on. And you can still see it happening when you look at how money is distributed, how loans are given out or not given out.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
The Arabs control the number business now. The Black people picking up numbers.
So
the Arabs,
when did things start switching? When did things? I mean, was it the lottery or?
Learning some stuff.
When did things really start changing over, Papa?
What you mean in what, the number business? Well, what really happened? The greatest thing happened to the number business was the lottery. I can speak from many, many years, 50, 60 years experience.
Okay. Talk to us.
The thing about the number business back in the day, you could not play a figure and walk away with $1 million. You can like yesterday, $2 could have got you $690-something million.
Yeah.
$2 back in the day gonna get you 1,000. That's all you gonna get.
Okay.
You're gonna get $1,000 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And what I mean by lucky, if the number man, the bookie, paid you the 1,000.
Okay.
But what the lottery did for the number business, it shored it up, because you could go and play, and you would be guaranteed to pay. The lottery fixed it so everybody see what the number is. Can't be no number changes. When y'all was little girls, you hit the number. I remember I hit the number, and like I'm sweating now, I was sweating all night. That white Steve ain't gonna change, them ain't gonna change the number on me. You understand what I'm saying? They change the number. They get too much, they have to get overhit. And they don't, well, what the hell? I ain't gonna pay off 10,000 today. Oh, hell, the number, they change the number. They can't do that no more, number one. But number two, you can take $2 and you got a shot at 650 billion, a million, or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what happened to the number business.
Okay.
But the little illegal number business, the Arabs, like everything else, I don't know what they got that can convince them that they are a better person to do business with or what. I don't know what it is. But the guys in the streets, I ain't gonna say 90% of them. You got a few number members, but probably a vast majority of the people, when you play in the street, it's going to one of them Arabs in one of them Arab stores. That's today.
How do we get back to? And I'm not saying that it has to be the number man, but how do we get back to that community banking? So, whereas we are able to help each other finance what we need to finance and do what we need to do. And I'm not talking about like sometimes you see on TV where I'm not talking about the loan shark is gonna break your legs. I'm talking about how do we help each other?
We tried that. We had that. Falls Avenue Baptist Church had a community development credit union.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They had a community development credit union. I was a part of a group in 1987. We brought a lady here from New York City, and she was a consultant to develop community development banks. And we brought her into Flint. And she did the study, and she found out that the charter that the NAACP Flint branch and the charter that Falls Avenue Baptist Church had, they don't even issue them no more because of a Jew named Ivan Boski. He had a community development credit union, and he took it and raised millions and millions and millions of dollars with his charter from other Jews, and he defrauded them. And if you look up Ivan Boski, they send him.
See it.
They send him to the penitentiary, and then they changed the law where the federal government, the IRS, didn't issue them type of charters anymore. Falls Avenue had one. NAACP had one.
They don't want us to have our own banking now.
I put in Ivan B.
Look.
And here he go.
Ivan Boski.
Yep. Ivan Frederick Boski, a former American stock trader, became infamous for his prominent role in insider trading scandal that occurred in the United States during the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
And then Daryl said, I don't know if anybody remembers, but about 20 years ago, Michigan Lottery got caught cheating on national TV. Does anybody remember that?
Oh, wow.
Tanya said, my grandma had the number man come to the house. He dressed sharp, had a nice car, and was respected in the community. Exactly, and they don't want us to respect our own. They find a way for us to like you said, demonize our own.
What Tanya talking about, it was a number game that went from house to house. And they pulled the number right in front of Tanya and them grandmama and them, hypothetically. You understand what I mean?
Right.
There wasn't no cheating. Took the number, took the wheel in the house, pulled the number. If your number come out, you got paid then. And that kind of forwarded White Steve and all the other number bookies from changing the number.
Okay.
And then
it was right in front of your face.
It was right in front of you, and you pull it yourself.
That.
You understand what I'm saying? Now that method, when they started the Michigan lottery, the Flint ex-politician Mike Carr was the first lottery commission.
Okay.
So commissioner. So he came to Flint and he studied that game, and he wanted the people who had that game to come testify before the lottery. Well, I mean, what the hell? They just sent murder to the penitentiary. So why would you go and testify?
Tell on yourself.
And tell on yourself.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So I didn't go. You understand?
Well, we're glad you did.
Yeah, I didn't go. But when the first lottery, I mean, I ain't really taking I ain't being bold, braggadocious or nothing like that. But they fashioned that game out of that game, and the name of the game was the Big Wheel. And when the first original lottery, when they first started pulling the number, they invited people to come in and pull the number.
Okay.
To give it authenticity. You understand what I mean?
If we see you pull the number, we believe it.
Yeah.
We know it's good. Right.
But now far as whoever just called in talking about caught the Michigan cheating, it's an algorithm.
Okay.
The Michigan lottery.
Kathleen said called the Big Wheel,
Yeah. The Michigan lottery, if you really go back and check the history of the Michigan lottery since its inception, in my opinion, I don't know, I ain't a mathematician, they had less than 5 days losing day. And
wow,
when you book the numbers, that just don't happen. But you can get an algorithm. And any number that would cause you to lose money, that wheel ain't gonna pull it on TV.
Okay.
So it's an algorithm. And they make money.
Just like the casino.
Yeah, casino.
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
So we still have about a little bit over 10. We got about what, 12 minutes? Okay. I want to know, what would you tell? Because if somebody says, well, he was successful, what advice do you have for young business, young people, old people, people in business, all of us? How about that?
I think, in my opinion, the business that you're being blocked out of so many things. And I think if I had children that had to go through, younger kids, I would tell them to get involved in the essential trade. In my opinion. You're gonna flush the toilet.
Right.
You're gonna need plumbing.
Yep, you do.
You're gonna
wash your dishes.
Yeah, and you're gonna need electricians with all these new gadgets and so forth. So I would steer anybody that really ever was trying to build a future. You got to build a future on what's the essential things in life.
And you know what? And so as I listen to you say that, what's interesting to me, what I think about is how they took all that out of the schools. You know, we used to have trades in schools. You had auto mechanics. You had wood shop. You had those kinds of things in school. And so we came out. If you had a trade or you went to school, you were ready. Either way, whichever route you took, you were ready. And it was just part of the educational system. And now that's gone.
Yeah.
That's gone. And so there we are again, you know, and I always said when I was the mayor, I never would have thought we'd have been looking for, you know, the trade jobs. Because I grew up when they were right there with, you know, you knew if you went down that hallway.
Take your car to the school.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so and now that's been taken. Yeah. And those are, they're like you said, you always need a plumber. Well, I mean, you always need an electrician.
Let me ask you, I've been intent on asking you this for years. When you was mayor and you went to all these seminars, did they have any black tanks or think tanks that came to them, and did you participate in any nationally known black tank? There's got to be some think tanks.
Oh, some think tanks?
Think tanks.
There are,
black situation.
But and that was the thing. You had to find them. It wasn't like there were a whole lot of them, but I will have to say that was one of the things that African American mayors did give you black think tanks, because when we would go to those kinds of things, they would put us around, you know, Black. Okay, if this is what we needed information about, if this is what we were trying to learn, okay, here's a group that's going to help you with that. So they provided that kind of access to resources. But that was how I got it. It wasn't until I was mayor and was going to those different kinds of things. And that's why it was important to be able to go to those different kinds of things, because you would get access to that. But it's not like there's a whole lot.
See, that's why we need people like you in place. Because my gripe,
I agree,
with the city of Flint, I'm talking about going back to 1966. Everything that we tried to do, you couldn't do it.
And we don't have that anymore. I'm looking at Michelle, where she said we had a Black Chamber of Commerce. We used to have, it was called Metro Chamber of Commerce, and that got folded in.
What does that say?
Atlanta Business League. We have a Black chamber, state, a larger one, but we used to have one right here in Flint. And I know my mother was on that board, but who was, wow, I can't believe I can't think of her name right now. That was over it. And you know who it is too.
I know.
And her name escapes me right now.
It'll come to
but
me.
It'll come after we're gone.
Because,
but we had that.
Yeah, because Al Golden,
Mm-hmm.
he financed that.
Mm-hmm. Gene Conyers, that's who was over Metro Chamber of Commerce.
Louis Driscoll.
Louis Driscoll was part of that. Yeah. It was a nice
They created that.
What can we do to get that?
We tried to. Right. We need something looking out for economic development and Black businesses that we don't have here.
And
we should use some of our ARPA money to start it.
That's what I just fixed to say. Going all the way back to 1966, you would always go downtown to try to get a building license, a business license, and they always would tell you what
Mr.
you can't
Ewing.
do. Even when Don Williamson was the mayor, I went to Don. I said, Don, instead of telling people what they cannot do, you need to form an office to tell what they can do.
Right.
And put a person in to help them do that. But Flint was crumbling then.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
Right.
And I'm talking about this, man, it's a disaster.
You said
it's a disaster. Yeah.
Can't even, I had to, don't get me started on my grandkids not being able to get ice.
Because we've been under that boil water alert citywide.
They're accustomed to going to the refrigerator and pressing the little button.
Using the conveniences that we just talked about.
Get away.
I know it. I know you got to treat it like it's a stove now, like it's the flame.
I'm trying to explain to 3-year-olds why they can't have ice.
Yeah.
But don't get me started.
And we were setting something up. Actually, we've been working with Mark Morial
to try to bring a urban league.
Well, we need to be asking you, what can we do? You asking the high school dropout what you can do. I don't know. I'm on the way out.
But the thing
I'm willing to help whatever they're trying to do in a positive direction.
Yes.
And you've been successful. And that's something you talked about, being a high school dropout, but look at what you've done. And so sometimes, we think that barriers stop us. Something that I don't have can stop us, but it doesn't.
It doesn't.
And you're a living example of that. And that's what we want people to know. Don't underestimate yourself. Don't say what you can't do because of what you don't have. It's like you just said, how do I get there?
How do I get there?
How do I get there? What's my pathway to getting there?
Right. Any idea, every idea is no bad idea.
And how do I help the community when I get there?
Right.
And I know.
I give Pickard credit. I give him credit. He and I, we grew up together.
I'm gonna put this book, Millionaire Moves. I'm gonna text it in here.
It's only a few books that I keep on a nightstand, and this is one of my nightstand books.
Moves.
Well, I keep
it's good. It's a good one.
1619 project.
Oh yeah, I got that one too. I have the 1619 project. I have Millionaire Moves. Of course, I have my Bible, and I have the book for colored girls who have considered politics.
Oh, not suicide.
No.
The one for colored girls who consider politics.
Girls, Donna Brazil and
Minya, and they were all with Hillary Clinton's campaign stuff.
Did a lot of stuff.
A lot.
Listen. So Daryl says, "Sir, talking to you. I have learned a great deal from older people that were high school dropouts. Don't sell yourself short, sir. And he isn't. And that was what we were just saying. He said he's learned a whole lot from you right now.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I want to be a contributor. You know.
And that's what you have been, I think, and that's why you're so respected in the community, and that's why people were excited about having you come on, because you have a lot to offer. You were going to say something.
I was going to say, so we have about 5 minutes left, right? And so, for me, I'm like Daryl. I like hearing like the history and how it relates to the now, and I have just like so much respect for it because you were there and you saw how things changed, and you were able to like just thrive in that. So what could you tell some of us who only know the history by what we've been told? How can we take that and make tomorrow better for our children and grandchildren the way you guys made today better for us?
Take the best part of your life and your struggle and your journey in life and capitalize on that. Forget about the dumb stuff. We all do dumb stuff, and we're going to continue to do dumb stuff. I'm 81 years old, and I look back on my journey, and it's very few that 81-year-olds still surviving. You understand? So captivate on what, like I said, I'll repeat, the best part of your life, you know, and your successes, and bring it forward. But see, the mistake, in my opinion, that's being made, you discount, not you personally, but I mean people discount ideas. If it ain't their ideas, it ain't a good idea.
Right.
You understand? I started a project, and I was really struggling with it because I know we ain't got 2 minutes. I was really struggling with it, and I took my family to the Essence Festival, and I went to the conference place down there, and TDJ, he wasn't preaching, he was a speaker. And he talked to me. He told me, you know, he was on a lecture stand, but the message was specific for me. God gave it to you. He didn't give it to the naysayers. So whatever God give it to you, it's for you. You understand what I mean?
You have to believe that.
And you have to believe that. And
Lynette said, "Amen, Papa."
Yeah. Once you get that in your belief system,
right,
then fight for it. You know, whatever it is. And you're gonna have challenges. Every day we got a challenge. Now that's what I would say as far as your generation.
Capitalize on your strengths and talents. Pray and encourage yourself. Tracy said, "Ooh wee." I say that all the time. Somebody called me Mayor Ooh wee because I always say ooh wee, but but it's true.
And that's why I need who you said that was.
That just said that.
Yeah,
Tracy Jones.
Well, that's why I need Tracy. You understand? We need each other.
Okay, that's it. Capitalize on your strengths and talents. Right. Pray and encourage yourself. And we do have to.
That's a diplomatic way of saying it.
Yeah.
By me being uneducated, you know, like granddaddy and grandma, boy. You understand? She got the message, and that's the message. That's the message I've tried to, you know, relay.
And you've done it. And so we're out of time, you all. But thank you for tuning in.
Wow.
Thank you for tuning in, Papa. We got to have you come back.
You have to have
a part
back.
2.
Yes.
What about Winston? She mad at me.
We have to have a part 2.
Okay.
And we're gonna talk some more.
I'm sorry,
Winston.
Thank you for joining us on Black Money Matters.
I'm sorry.